Konnichiwa, I am the last Otaku, and this is my first ever manga review. One Piece, Chapter 1, Romance Dawn, Part 1. Yes, I am doing this chapter in more than one video. I know I said I was doing one video in my channel introduction video, but this chapter is 54 pages long. And the last take I did of this video took well over 1 hour to film, and I wasn't even done yet. I wasn't even halfway through the chapter yet. So do you know how much editing that was going to take and how long editing was going to take if I just left it in one video? Yeah, it was gonna take a while. Well, fame, power. Gold Roger, the king of the pirates, obtained this and everything else the world had to offer, and his dying words drove countless souls to the sea. You want my treasure? You can have it. I left everything I gathered together in one place. Now you just have to find it. These words lured him into the Grand Line in pursuit of dreams greater than they ever dared to imagine. This is the time known as the Great Pirate Era. Okay, so in the first chapter of One Piece, we don't get just one cover page. No, we get 2 cover pages. And the first one is Luffy sailing on a dinghy, or small sailboat for those of you who don't know what a dinghy is, designed to look like a pirate ship. The second one is Luffy, the red-haired pirates, and a mysterious girl, Nami, celebrating because they found a bunch of treasure. Okay, so from cover pages, we cut over to a small seaport where a pirate ship is docked. And on the pirate ship is a young boy by the name of Monkey D. Luffy. He is currently standing on the ship's figurehead with a knife in his hand. And he's just like, I'm not joking this time. I've had enough, and I'm going to prove it to you. And the captain of the crew encourages him by laughing and saying, go for it, let's see what you're gonna do. And Luffy just takes the knife and stabs him right below the right eye. And much to nobody's surprise, he just screams out in pain. And the captain just stares there at him and just hollers, "Idiot! What the heck are you doing?" I'm sorry, Captain, but did you not just sit there and encourage him to do whatever it was he was going to do? The kid had a knife in his hand. A knife. So, what did you think he was going to do to prove himself of what it is he wants to prove himself of? I mean, to stab himself in the face was probably not the brightest idea. I mean, he could have just cut himself on the arm or something, and I'm about ready to do that right now. And yeah, just, okay then. So, what kind of thing do you expect a kid who is about 7 years old to do if he is sitting there saying that he has had enough, and he's got a knife in his hand, and he's going to prove it that he's had enough to these pirates? And then the captain of the pirate crew just sits there and encourages him to do whatever it is he's going to do. Yeah, it's not going to be something completely stupid at all. Right, Alexandria? Alexandria? Where'd she go? My partner ditched me. Okay, so then, from the seaport scene, we cut over to a bar, and the crew is celebrating not only their crew's greatness, but also Luffy's craziness, because he just went and stabbed himself in the face with a knife. And yet they're celebrating his craziness. You're celebrating the fact that a kid just stabbed himself right below the eye. You want to explain this to me? Because... okay then. And Luffy has a big smile on his face and tears just welling up in his eyes. And he's just like, that didn't hurt one bit. And the captain is just behind him and just like, you liar, don't ever do something that stupid ever again. And don't you just love how people's moods changes so quickly in anime? Literally, the next frame, the same captain, whose name we finally learn is Red-Haired Shanks, is laughing his head off. And he's just like, you can't handle being a pirate. Here's a little fun fact about Luffy for you. He is 7 years old, and he doesn't know how to swim yet. Not saying all 7 years olds know how to swim, but Luffy is a 7-year-old who doesn't know how to swim, and he wants to be a pirate. Now let me tell you something about a pirate who doesn't know how to swim. Not being able to swim would put a pirate at a major disadvantage against enemies, and would be a great weakness for said pirates. Because what if they go overboard? I mean, who's to say that there's not going to be a storm and they're going to be up on the mast, furling the sails, and a really strong gust of wind comes up and blows them off? Yeah, they better hope they've got some swimmers on the crew. Which, yeah, more than likely, most of them would know how to swim. But they better hope they got some strong, fast swimmers who can swim in a storm. Or you can just throw out a life preserve, but I'm pretty sure most pirate ships, or at least in the world of One Piece, most pirate ships probably aren't smart enough, or pirate crews probably aren't quite smart enough to have a life preserve on board the ship just in case someone goes overboard who doesn't know how to swim. And Luffy comes up with a perfect and simple answer to his problem of not being able to swim. Even if he can't swim, as long as he stays aboard the ship, it will be fine. He will be perfectly fine as long as he stays aboard the ship. Besides, his fighting skills are pretty good anyway, so, I mean, who cares about swimming as long as his fighting skills are good? And according to him, his punches are like pistol fire. I just love sarcasm, don't you? After Luffy says that, Shanks is just like, Pistol fire. Wow. Really? And this just ticks poor little Luffy off. He's just like, what kind of tone is that? And so, because they see Luffy is upset and unhappy, Shanks' crew begins to encourage Luffy's dream of becoming a pirate. And they just basically tell him, be happy to face anything. A pirate's life is great. The sea is so wide and you can visit any island seeking adventure. Nothing is greater than freedom. And Luffy is just standing there like, wow, that is so cool. That is what I want. I want to go on adventures. I want that kind of freedom. And Shanks is just like, don't give him any ideas, guys. To which the crew replied, but it's true, isn't it? We wouldn't lie to the kid. Why would we do that? And one of the members asked if they could just take him out to sea with them one time. 3 other members, the one member, so as far as I know, doesn't have an actual name, but 3 other members, 2 of which are eventually mentioned in the manga, their names are, but they're not mentioned yet, but just for the sake of keeping people straight, I'm going to tell you their names. 2 of the members that agreed are Lucky Roo and Yasopp. So those Lucky Roo and Yasopp, as well as one other member whose name's not mentioned, all 3 agreed. That is until Shanks makes a statement, alright, fine, but one of you guys have to stay behind when we do, so Luffy can take your place. We'll take Luffy next time, but Luffy's taking one of your places for that particular trip. And the crew, poor Luffy, the crew just, the 3 members that agreed just turns around and basically just say, sorry buddy, but we've said enough. Upsetting poor little Luffy even farther. Shanks does say, he looks at Luffy and he says, he only has one issue. Luffy is still too young. He is, as I said, he's about 7 years old right now. And while in the first chapter of the manga it doesn't actually say how old he is, they will eventually say it, and it's not really too big of a spoiler, so I'm saying it now. Luffy is about 7 years old at this time. If he's not, he's almost 7. So Shanks promises Luffy that if he waits about 10 more years, he will reconsider taking Luffy out to sea with them. And like any 7-year-old would say, I'm not a kid anymore! So to cheer him up, Shanks hands him a glass of juice. It could be orange juice, apple juice, whatever kind of juice you want, but it's just a glass of juice. It doesn't say what kind, and it don't really matter. So, Luffy happily takes the juice, and laughing to the point of tears, streaming down his face, Shanks just turns away and just like, you really are a kid, how funny! Have you ever had that one relative or even friend that just makes you so angry with their teasing you just constantly? But if they didn't, you would think something was wrong. Be it they could be sick, they could be mad at you, your friendship could be just dissolving. Yeah, this is Shanks to Luffy. So by now, Shanks has Luffy so irritated that he walks away complaining that he stabbed himself and Shanks still won't agree to take him with them. And that is about when another member of the crew whose names has not been mentioned yet, but for the sake of keeping people straight, I'm going to tell you. His name is Ben Beckman. And he just kind of confronts Luffy and explains that Luffy has to at least try to understand Shanks' feelings. He is their leader, their captain. He knows being a pirate is interesting, but he also knows that it is hard and dangerous. And he doesn't purposely tease Luffy's ambitions of being a pirate. And Luffy just replies, I don't understand. Shanks just takes me for an idiot. Maybe he does a little bit. But no, Luffy. Shanks he thinks too highly of you. He doesn't want to see anything happen to Luffy. And Luffy turns around only to find Shanks staring at him and just laughing. Can't swim. And Luffy just yells, see? I told you! He does take me for an idiot. Like, no, Luffy, I'm pretty sure he don't. Not completely. He's teasing Luffy in an endearing way, is what he's doing. And little kids don't tend to understand that very well. So, yeah, that's what's going on right now. And finally, Makino, the owner of the bar, comes in. And she states that, as always, Shanks looks very happy. And Shanks just states, yeah, making fun of Luffy it's his joy. He just gets so much joy out of making fun of Luffy. And Luffy looks at Beckman while pointing back to Shanks. He really is very happy. I'm going to point at Penguin. Penguin, you're Shanks for now. Okay. And so Makino proceeds to ask Luffy if he wants any food. To which Luffy replied, yeah, he'd like some food, and he'll be paying her with his treasure. And Shanks is just like, puppy! My curtains is somewhat open, and my windows is open, and and the neighbors just let their dog out. And I think he's a black lab. Okay, anyway, where was I? Oh, yes, Makino and her bar comes in, Shanks states, blah, blah, blah. She proceeds to ask Luffy if he wants any food, to which Luffy replies he does, and he will be paying her with his treasure. And Shanks is just like, what treasure? Oh, he's so cute. Right there. Just like, what treasure? And I'm sorry, that dog's really cute. What treasure? You're lying again. And Luffy proclaims that he will definitely become a pirate someday, and he will pay her with the treasure he finds. And then Luffy, after they get their food, Luffy is sitting there eating, and he asks Shanks, how much longer will they be staying on using the island as their base? The current plan is that they are going to set sail a couple more times before moving up north. And Luffy thinks about it for a moment, and decides that he will be able to swim by the time they leave. And just then, the bar door was slammed open. Alexandra, what are you doing? You're knocking my paintings over. Don't kick the door open. Alexandra, you are always welcome to come help me. You weren't even here. How... She got me on that one. Okay, where was I? Oh yes. And a group of mountain bandits entered the bar, and their leader, Higuma, claims that they are not there to cause any trouble. They just want some sake. However, Shanks' crew might have drank all of it. Or rather, they're currently drinking the last of it. So Shanks, he kindly offers Higuma the last unopened bottle he had. Higuma takes it and just smashes it over the top of Shanks' head. And Luffy and Makino are in just complete shock. And Luffy is eating a very strange looking fruit. Wonder what the deal is with that. Oh, okay. Anyway, Shanks, he ignores Higuma and is more concerned about the floor being wet than the fact that there is glass. More than likely, there is glass in his hair and stuck in his scalp. Granted, Shanks does. He does, in fact, have a straw hat on. Okay, so this is more of a cowgirl hat, but for now we're using it as a straw hat. It's kind of made up like a straw hat. It's got similar, it's not straw, but yeah. Anyway, so he has the straw hat on, so it kind of protects his scalp and hair from getting glass in it, but it's a straw hat. Glass can cut straw, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty sure glass is sharp enough, shattered glass is sharp enough to cut through straw hats. So, shouldn't he be kind of worried about that? The fact that there's probably glass in his hair? I mean, I'll have you know, getting glass out of hair, especially long hair, is very difficult. My sister, we were at our grandma's, and I forget what she was carrying, but she was carrying it over her head. I think it might have been a broom, and she just was holding it up rather high. Conveniently have a broom sitting here. Mom's gonna wonder what that thunk was. Anyway, so she was holding it above her head. Whatever it was, I'm pretty sure it was a broom. Above her head. And our grandma's, their ceiling is like really low. Like their fan with the ceiling fan and light, probably comes pretty close to your head. So she's rocking there like this, and she walks right under it and shatters one of the light bulbs, and it's just like all over her hair. So yeah, that is how I know getting glass out of your hair is not fun. I think they actually had to take the sweeper to it. Yeah. So anyway, one moment. Shanks is more worried about the floor than the fact that there's glass in his hair. But okay, not to mention his prized straw hat could have easily been damaged by the glass, but he's nowhere near worried about that. So anyway, Higuma holds up his wanted poster. And just so you know, this is the very first wanted poster we get to see in the One Piece manga. And his bounty at the time was 8 million berries. For our newer fans, berries is the form of their currency. It's like the American dollar or Japanese yen. So, yeah. So their currency is in berries. And he attained this bounty by killing 56 people. So Shanks, however, continues to ignore him and proceeds to clean up the glass on the floor, asking Makino if she had a mop. And I'm going to get this once more. I'm just going to keep this over here for a moment. And so Higuma, he's a swordsman. So he draws his sword, and let's just shorten this so I don't break anything, and just swings it over Shanks' head, shattering the dishes on the bar. Shattering the dishes on the bar so that Shanks could clean more, seeing as to how he enjoyed cleaning. And then the bandits leave. So Shanks is there on the floor leaning against the bar, just drenched in sake, more than likely covered in glass as well, little tiny shards of glass. And he takes off his hat and just, she asks if Shanks is okay, and he and the crew, they just burst out laughing. And this, to no one's surprise, makes Luffy even madder. I just really love this scene right after Luffy yells at them, and Shanks he looks at Luffy, he places his hat back on his head, and he smiles and says, "I know how you feel, but it's just a bottle of sake. There's nothing to get worked up about." I mean, do you realize how much more peaceful the world would be if more people thought like this? People get mad over the stupidest things. And yes, I know this is fictional, and these are fictional pirates. But a pirate was able to look a little kid in the eye and tell him, someone's smashing a bottle of sake over your head is nothing to get worked up over. You shouldn't get mad and just start fighting someone just because they smashed just because they smashed a bottle of sake over your head and got you drenched and got you covered in glass, probably got some shards of glass stuck into your scalp. And I just personally really rather like that moment. But, of course, Luffy doesn't understand what Shanks is saying, and he walks away not wanting to see Shanks or the crew again. But Shanks, he grabs Luffy by the arm, trying to stop him from leaving right away. But Luffy just keeps on walking. Now, mind you, I just said, Shanks has hold of his arm, but Luffy keeps on walking. So everyone just chokes on their sake. And because Luffy's arm is about 4 times its normal length. And Luffy's face. I just, you know what? I'm just gonna show you Luffy's face. There's just no describing this. And Lucky Roo, he gets up from his food and sake and he looks into the small chest. It's just like a small little box. Okay, it's bigger than this and it's more of a treasure chest, but this is about the closest thing I've got. So we're just gonna go with this. And he finds that the contents of that box is missing. So he quickly draws this picture of a very unusual looking fruit. Yeah, remember that fruit that I talked about earlier that Luffy was eating? The very odd looking fruit? Yeah, this is what's up with the fruit. Shanks explains to Luffy. He grabs Luffy and he's just like, that was the Gamu Gamu no Mi, or the Gum Gum Devil Fruit. And the eater of this fruit, their body is turned almost instantly to rubber, making the person a rubber man. To top this off, the eater will never be able to swim again. Or in Luffy's case, at all. And poor little Luffy just got done saying how he would be able to swim by the time Shanks leaves. So he could go with Shanks. So Luffy's jaw just drops. And it's like inches off the floor. And he's just like, what? You're kidding, right? And Shanks is just like, you idiot! But for now, this is all I've got for One Piece Chapter 1, Romance Dawn Part 1. So I will see you next time. I'm the Last Otaku, and this is your anime news. Sayonara.